all things come from one thing, even that one thing that was the original thing, it also stemmed from another thing. All of that is to say, my name is Ned, and today I'm going to be talking about Silent Hill Origins. Why? Because I played it. Silent Hill Origins came out November 6, 2007 for the PSP and PS2. It was made by Climax Studios, which is the first game of the Silent Hill series to ever be made by a non-Japanese studio. I got this game for the PSP when I was in college at a beautiful secondhand store, and I was actually so afraid of the concept of Silent Hill that I didn't actually get past the first save of the game until December of 2024. And you know what? After playing the whole game, I found out that it's just fine. If you don't know what Silent Hill Origins is, it is a prequel to the first game of the series, also commonly known as Silent Hill 1. To give you a very simplistic version of the plot of this game, you play as Travis Grady, a trucker who is taking a shortcut through the town of Silent Hill and ends up having a very bad time. Throughout the game, you run into the characters from Silent Hill 1, Lisa, Dr. Kaufman, Dahlia, and Alessa. If you want a plot summary that's a little bit more in-depth, I'll do my best right now, I guess. Travis basically rescues this small girl, Alessa, from a burning up house. She's all burned up herself. The Jonas Brothers are nowhere to be found. Decides to rescue her, takes her out of the burning house, passes out, wakes up in Silent Hill, and throughout his time there, he not only regains memories of his past, but he also finds out that there is a cult in town that worships this old god, and the cult seems to believe that the old god gave Alessa powers. The cult wants to sacrifice Alessa to bring forth this old god, so this old god can bring forth the apocalypse, all while Travis wants to smoke a fourth of a joint. Now, if that plot sounded a little sloppy, great news. It is. Now, the game itself, I think, had good bones. I just wish it did a couple things differently. The first being the mirror world. The game utilizes a specific mechanic, not a trucker. Well, I guess they technically utilize the trucker, but the game utilizes a mechanic with mirrors. Throughout Silent Hill Origins, Travis can interact with mirrors and enter the other world. Basically a scarier, grosser version of Silent Hill. It's made clear in the game that his mother was able to see in this world, and because of that, she was institutionalized. She was also very abusive towards her child and husband, but you know, the mirror world is what got her institutionalized. The mirrors are used to access doors that are potentially locked in the regular world, to find items for puzzles, or even contain puzzles themselves. They're also the main way you get to your boss fight. And this is an interesting concept. It's cool, though it doesn't really add anything to the story as a whole. In the game, there are monsters littered everywhere. They're just kind of all around once you meet that first monstie. And what I wished the game did was only allowing the player and Travis to interact with the monsters through the mirror world itself. I fully believe that the chill time between being in the regular world with no monsters and being in the mirror hell world with the monsters would create a lot more tension. Having extended moments in a truly silent hill would make the player forget what's on the other side of the mirror and make them dread the moments when they come face to face with it, never knowing what's going to be on that other side waiting. If the game wanted us to traverse the streets of Silent Hill with monsters on it, we could have gone through a mirror before leaving whatever space we were in, whatever dungeon we were crawling through. Because I believe the locations in Silent Hill games, I don't know why I did a dramatic pause. I believe that the locations in Silent Hill games are dungeons. That's what they are. It's a horrifying fantasy game. Honestly, yes, because it's a horrifying fantasy world. Because it's fake. Because that's what games are. Except for Resident Evil, that really happened. Instead of having too much time to breathe, there are monsters everywhere in Silent Hill Origins. When you pick up certain items or complete certain puzzles, every room you encountered, even if you defeated the monsters previously in there, more of them spawn. And yes, that happens in Silent Hill 1 or 2, but in Origins, up to 3 new monsters can spawn into one room, and it is annoying. It lessens the scariness of the game, and it becomes more frustrating, if anything. A couple things I enjoyed about this game, though, that were cool things to just shove into a new Silent Hill game, it came out in 2007, was this is the first Silent Hill game that had melee combat, and you can actually fist fight the monsters themselves. I loved being able to pick up random objects around the world and hoard them in my inventory. I thought that was actually very silly. And there's no inventory limit in this game, and so by the end of it, I had almost 60 melee items, 2 or 3 of which were katanas. And I absolutely love that. The melee weapons in this game break after a certain point. You can tell by this little plus sign that's on the bottom of the melee weapon you pick up. Green is you can use it for a little bit. Orange, yellow is, you can only use it once or twice. And red is typically use it once and it breaks. The game also implements a stamina system. It's not a video unless I drop something or knock it over. That's just how it goes. Like I was saying, the game also implements a stamina system that not only slows Travis's running speed down, but the speed of his attacks, which is kind of cool. You can find energy drinks around the town that will replenish Travis's speed, but in all honesty, I never used them. I never felt the need to use them in my game. Maybe I used one once because near the end of the game, there are these just giant creatures roaming around, and I hate them. But I didn't find it necessary to gameplay. Full honesty moment. I started replaying the game a bit after I finished it for the first time. I did some blanket research. When you play the game for the first time, you are locked into the good ending no matter what, which kind of sucks. If you want to get the bad ending, you have to kill over 100 enemies, and if you want the UFO joke ending that every Silent Hill game has, you have to also beat the game at least once, which is the same for other Silent Hills, but you're telling me I can only get the bad ending after I play the game already? Like, I know, I want the option to be a piece of shit. That's what Silent Hill is all about, except for the first one. You're just kind of a cool guy in the first one. I like Harry Mason. This brings me into the second biggest critique I have of the game, which is I wish that the Butcher monster was utilized more, and that Travis specifically and explicitly... Why did I say those 2 words? I wish that Travis was explicitly the Butcher. I wish he was nude. If you don't know, the Butcher is a monster in this game that you only really see anywhere from 2 to 3 times in your experience. He kind of felt like Pyramid Head 2, the Squeakquel. The first encounter is after you leave the hospital, which is the first dungeon of the game, and you enter a butcher shop. You see him mutilating a nurse, and then he drags this big knife away. There are points in the game where you can potentially hear him, but he never shows up. The next time you see the Butcher is in really the final dungeon, I would say, of the game, the motel. You can, again, potentially see him if you look through a specific peephole in this weird back area of the motel. And granted, that's a cool moment. I like just looking through, and he's just standing there. And in the real world, you see him only in the mirror world. In the real world, that room is covered with drawings and pictures, and it is really scary. It's a weird conspiracy room. But the last time you see the Butcher is when you're doing your boss fight with him. There was no real payoff. Now, I've read some theories online that Travis is actually the Butcher, and I like this theory. I think it's a cool theory. There are subtle hints to Travis being a murderer in the game itself, like the enemies never dissipating after they're dead, finding all these murder photographs around the motel, like somebody getting stabbed to death or bitten by a snake. Or, after you finish the game for the first time, there's options, and then there's extra options for the game. And in extra options, you can put on extra gore, and you can put on bloody footprints. And the bloody footprints do what they say. Every time Travis takes a step, you're leaving a bloody trail behind him. And like I said before, the way you get the bad ending in your second or third run of the game is by killing over 100 enemies. When you get the bad ending, voices are heard that implicate Travis was a murderer. And for future playthroughs, you actually unlock the Butcher's Blade as well. And yeah, these are all nice. You can piece them together as you will, but they're not satisfying enough. And like I said, you see the Butcher at least twice. It's just not enough. For me. Maybe it's enough for you. Maybe I have different tastes. Maybe I'm fancy. The side characters feel fine. I don't know if we needed this to be a prequel. I like seeing those characters from the first game in a different light, though I think Lisa's performance was a bit off. I did not connect with her as I did in the first game, and I think that's really tragic because I think Lisa is such a beautiful character in that tragic way. I think Emily Lynham did a really great job in the first Silent Hill, and yeah, I felt lacking in Lisa specifically. I know I've been critiquing the game a lot, but I do like it. I think it's fun. I just don't think it's good. And on the second playthrough I'm doing right now, I'm having a better time with it. Maybe because I know the layout a bit more of what I'm supposed to do, and maybe because I can put Travis in a weirdly sexy biker outfit. I don't know why I think it's hot. He's just wearing a leather jacket and took his hat off. What does that say about me? I said this in the beginning of the video. I think it has good bones. I think Silent Hill Origins is a game with good ideas, but not necessarily good follow-through on those ideas. Do I think you should play this game? If you like Silent Hill, go off. But I don't think it's dire. I don't think you direly need to play Silent Hill Origins. If you own it already and haven't played it yet, like me for so long, do it. But I wouldn't say go out of your way. Hello, I'm editing the video and I realized that I forgot to shoot an outro. Oh my god. Hopefully that reduces glare a little bit. I just wanted to say thanks for watching the video. Honestly, it was a little rough for me to make. And, you know, if this video gets 5 likes, I'll show you my Travis Grady cosplay. Have a beautiful night or day, and make sure to do some reading this year, like I am. So, bye.